All right, welcome to another episode of Stop Money Anxiety Now Live podcast. This is episode number 10. All right, welcome back to another live broadcast of Stop Money Anxiety Now podcast. I am your host, Wei Hong from the Six Figure Academy.
And I'm your co-host, Jessica, also from the Six Figure Academy.
Ooh, that new mic sounds good.
Super velvet.
Yeah, and I just realized I didn't say the title of today's episode in the introduction, which is How to Be Willing to Die for What You Want. Now, this is the podcast where we give you real-world tips, strategies, and interviews with some of the most amazing entrepreneurs on the planet, both locally and internationally, on how to eliminate the destructive money habits and anxiety so that you can create a prosperous and abundant lifestyle and business free of financial stress and worry. How are you?
Amazing.
Doesn't it?
Isn't that what we all want?
To not have stress and worry around finances?
About anything.
About anything, right? Just have like a blissful, stress-free life, right? You know, there's something to be said about that, actually. There actually needs to be friction. So there's such a thing as healthy stress, well, I don't say worry, but healthy stress. There's good stress, because every time you go to the gym, which our guest can probably attribute to because he's a bit of a gym rat himself, you know, as he's flexing in the studio right now while we're talking. Yeah, that's why he's not on right now, because he's too busy flexing in the corner. Baby needs to flex in the corner.
I don't think there's enough room for my head in his
world, so that's why you guys are on opposite sides of the room. But I mean, there's good stress, right? When you stress out your muscles and stuff like. So, you know, financial stress and worry, on the other hand, that's a whole different thing. So, but that's a lot of what we're talking about today. So, how was your week, Jessica? We actually it's exciting because usually we have a guest every other week.
Yeah. And
we had a kind of like a surprise drop in. So I'm really excited today because he's kind of I've known him for a while, and so we'll talk more about him. But how about you? I mean, how was your week?
I'm good. Last week I was working the South Bay Women's Conference down here in Torrance.
Oh, cool. How was that?
It was amazing. It was I don't think there was enough women in the room. You know,
wait a minute, what? It's a South Bay Women's thing, and there's not enough women in the room?
I'm just kidding. There are over 300 women that attended this conference.
Yeah, you're right. That's not enough.
And granted, I think I only saw like 5 men. I was like, wow, you guys chose a really great event.
So it's a women's empowerment type of thing?
It was put on by the South Bay Business Women's Association down here in South Bay.
It was either a really good thing for the 5 men that were there, or it was like, oh my gosh, a harrowing experience. I'm traumatized for life now.
No, not at all. All of the women were so delightful, and even just the women who I worked with in this SBBWA, they were just so amazing, so supportive, really had a lot to contribute. And they had this guest speaker who I unfortunately...
Jen Bricker, right?
Yeah,
I think it was.
Jen Bricker.
She is so cool.
I've heard. I was working the whole time, so I didn't get to step
You didn't get to hear her?
Yeah.
But you know her story, though, right?
Yeah.
Her story is super cool. It's do
you know?
Yeah, I saw the video of it like years ago, where she grew up, she was abandoned by her family.
Really?
Because she was born I almost said retarded. She wasn't born retarded. She was born handicapped without legs. And then, so she was adopted by an American family. So I think she was abandoned in a European country or something like that. And what happened was she was adopted and grew up just kind of like, when she figured out how to tumble, and she loved to do gymnastics. And she picked an idol, like an Olympian, that she would always like watch and always, and was like totally her role model growing up. So she started doing more and more Olympics. She became a great tumbler without legs. You know, you can imagine that, Paralympics and everything like that. And then eventually one day, I don't know if it was her adopted parents that showed her, but basically, I mean, you guys could just look it up, but she found out the one person that she was looking up to the whole time happened to be her sister.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Her sister was the one she was looking up to the whole time. And so they finally met. It was really cool. You know, it's like one of those stories where you read it, you see it, you know, a guy or girl, like, you know, like tears and stuff flowing. You're like, oh my God.
Well, yeah, no, it was funny because I was working, you know, the registration because there were women who were coming in late, but she was a keynote speaker, the first one. And some people, the women were coming out of the banquet room, like it just seemed like everyone was in awe, like complete awe. And they just kept talking about her the entire day. And she was, walking around the premises, and she just had this really great, friendly, just really humble energy about her.
It's an amazing story. And, it kind of ties into what we're talking about today, I mean, she had every reason in the world to not do anything.
Yeah.
She had every reason in the world to be like, taken care of and coddled for the entire life. But she had a passion. She didn't care what anybody else had to say, and she was, I think she was willing to give up everything. I mean, really, she had no legs growing up.
Yeah.
And she could give up everything for that, and she did.
Yeah.
And as a result has become not only a great role model for other Paralympic, or hopefuls, but also to people who, have bought into the fact that because they're handicapped, they're stuck.
Yeah.
In which case, far from it, right?
Yeah.
I
heard that she's not even 30. Like, she's turning 30 this year or something.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And all the women, they're just like, oh, she's done all this. And I was like, geez, I should have listened to him.
Right. So you're only one in this room that's under 30. So, yeah.
Well, I don't look it.
Yeah. You look like 12.
I'm just kidding.
Well,
you guys don't like it, but...
Yeah. Well, for those of you who don't know, Jessica is my co-host, and she actually represents the millennial step. So just a reminder, if you are on Spreaker.com, or if you are listening to us live, you can actually interact with us and our guest. Simply punch in your questions. Don't punch it and type it in, because then you'll break your keyboard or whatever, your phone. And ask your questions on chat, and what we can do is we can ask ourselves that question, or we can ask our guest. So make sure that if you have something, you don't wait and just ask away.
So who was our guest today?
Right. Okay. So a couple nights ago, as I was sitting at home, sitting on Chrome. No, just kidding.
I was with the whiskey in hand by the fireplace.
Whiskey in hand, trying to be the most interesting man in the world, but failing terribly because there was nobody around. I actually got a ping from a good friend of mine who is a total entrepreneur, and I think he'll be an entrepreneur probably for the rest of his life. Just he always touches base with me randomly, and the timing is always perfect. He always says, "Oh, I'm in town. Let's. What are you doing? What are you up to? Oh, I got to catch you up on a few things." And that's kind of how we connect. I mean, we've known each other years ago, and we met through a mutual friend of mine who was an old business partner, and we just connected because, we just kind of think alike on so many different levels. He's a big marketing dude, marketing background, loves what he does, passion, has a huge golden heart. And before I go any further, I'll let him kind of, ooze his energy onto the airways. But Chris Martinez is actually our guest today. He's the CEO and co-founder of Website in 5 Days and Strength Sites. And he's also a best-selling author, a motivational speaker, and a fellow proud dad to a dog, but his dog is a golden retriever, and I have a husky, right? And he's actually going to jump on the air, and I'm so glad he was able to make it, shift his schedule on to jump on the show today to talk about how to stop giving an F. Okay, I said this is a PG friendly, so we can't use the other word you want to use. Foo-foo. And be willing to die for what you want, because I believe that's kind of the mantra that he's gone through. And, there's so many things that I want to share about this guy and why this guy. On the surface, he shows up one way, but if you got a chance to get to know this guy, which hopefully he'll get a chance to share the innards of Chris Martinez.
You can sound like a turkey.
I know. You'll find him. But anyway, welcome to the show, Chris. I kept you silent long enough. Come on board.
I've been dying to say something for like 10 minutes now.
You've just been flexing the entire time.
Flexing and petting the dog.
That may or may not be true.
Yeah, flexing and petting the dog. Welcome to the show, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while since I've seen you.
Probably almost exactly a year.
Really?
Actually, I think that was the exact
This is the last time we did that Facebook Live together?
Yeah.
Which we're going to do another one after this.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'm down.
But, welcome to the show. I think the last time we saw each other, we didn't have the show yet.
Nope.
And so, since this show is about stopping money anxiety, and it's all about people's money stories, why don't we just start with that and then see where it, blossoms out to? Because I think there's so many facets of you that I really that I think are inspirational to our audience and to entrepreneurs, both new and old, to, how to take themselves to the next level. But what's your money story? You know what that is, right? Everybody has a money story.
Where do you want me to start?
So your childhood wasn't ideal to be a prosperous entrepreneur.
In an environment that wasn't entrepreneurial, I would say. That it wasn't encouraging of entrepreneurial. It wasn't saying, entrepreneurship is bad. However, I had a Chinese mother, much like you did, and it was go to school.
Yeah, Chinese inside?
Get a job. Yeah. Go to school, get a job.
So many Asians here on this show.
You have the best impression. I can't do it justice. So, it was go to school, get a job, find a steady job, get paid, get a house, all that stuff.
Yeah, of course.
But, like you mentioned, I'm an entrepreneur through and through. This is like something that I just cannot turn off. And I've come to terms with it over the past few years.
You knew that you were an entrepreneur since you were really young?
It's a good question. So I didn't really embrace the fact that I was an entrepreneur until I was like in my 30s.
Okay. But did you have any quirks when you were younger that...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Did you share one or two, or...
Yeah, I always knew that I wanted to have a business, even though I didn't really know what that meant when I was a kid. So, like, in college, I started a note-taking service. So this is back before they put notes on the internet, if you can even fathom that. And so I went into, like, Sociology 1 because I was a sociology major, and I was taking notes.
Yeah.
And then right before the midterm, I had my friend who worked at a print shop print up all these flyers for me for free. And then I put all the flyers on every single chair. And so I went to UC Santa Barbara, and it was...
you're a gaucho?
Yeah, are you?
Me too.
Nice.
What?
So it was in Campbell Hall.
They just high-fived each other.
Campbell Hall, right? Campbell Hall. So I put...
You have a Campbell Hall at UCLA.
It's not the same.
Sorry, this is SB.
So I put a little flyer on every single chair.
No way.
And I think that quarter I ended up making between the midterm and the final between $1,500 and $2,000.
Whoa.
Which, like, if you're in college, that's like $1 million.
Oh my god.
So it was like beer money, and I was able to go, eat at Giovanni's, go get a pizza slice and a salad and soda. So I was stoked. So I did all these little things, just kind of like little entrepreneurial, I guess you could call them, like, projects along the way. And then eventually my very first business was a soccer magazine, which ended up failing miserably.
So you really are an entrepreneur.
Yeah, and I'll always have something going on.
You're not a true entrepreneur until you fail miserably a few times.
and this is the other thing, is like, we are never short on ideas or seeing opportunities. And it's like impossible. Like,
can't stop it.
My non-entrepreneur friends are like, dude, your brain is like always working.
Yeah.
And it's, caused some problems with
do we see it as work?
And stuff. What's that?
Do we see that as work, though? That's the thing.
No, it's fun.
Right?
This is part of I believe that as an entrepreneur, this is a part of your creative outlet. I believe that everybody has some form of creative outlet.
Yeah.
And for us, as entrepreneurs, it's seeing opportunities and building businesses. If you're a real entrepreneur, that's what you do.
Right.
So,
and then here's the thing. The reason for the show is every entrepreneur hits some kind of money block. Right. So, and that's usually dictated by some kind of a story. So, tell us about that. One of the most the most significant money blocks you've encountered as an entrepreneur.
Money blocks, I would say. Well, I'll kind of go back to my childhood to start. It's taken me a while to talk about this because I've always, kind of been ashamed of it. But, like, I had a really very physically and emotionally abusive childhood.
Wow.
So I got beat up a lot. And so that was a part of...
Yes, your Asian mom.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. She was like the freaking 4'11" Manny Pacquiao of the time.
Whoa.
Anything that happened, whack! So because of that, I think that I had some mind blocks about what I was able to achieve or something like that, And then, so I had, that was part of me not embracing the entrepreneurial side of me too, because I think I was trying to fit into a certain block that I believed that I was supposed to do, but it wasn't my path.
Yeah.
So eventually, I went to college, got a job working in sales, didn't really know what sales entailed, but I did really well at it. And I became a manager, one of the youngest managers in the company at the time.
Wow.
And everything seemed to be going really well. And then my dad got diagnosed with cancer, December of 2006.
Right.
He had pancreatic cancer. He was dead within about a month.
Wow.
And so that really, really hit me hard.
Yeah.
And so right after that, I decided that I was going to start this soccer magazine, which was like the worst possible time in history to start a print magazine. So within about 18 months, I had lost everything. So I had, I couldn't even pull a $20 bill out of ATM.
Yeah.
And so I had to restart my life, ultimately, is how I look at it. And so I had to get a job, and I had to pay off all this debt. And through that, about 2 years after my dad died, I went through a really rough period of time where I was very depressed, very angry as well. And I didn't know how to deal with it because also, growing up, I played soccer. I was an athlete. I still consider myself to be an athlete. And guys aren't supposed to talk about this sort of stuff. It's stupid. I don't know why that is the mentality that we have, and I feel like that's changing a bit.
Right.
But there's a stigma about guys talking about their feelings, and so as you bury that, eventually it'll just come bubbling back up to the surface.
Yeah.
And that's what happened to me. And I got to a point where I was seeing this girl, and I was so angry about something that she did that was stupid. It was so stupid, and ultimately that's what ended that relationship. And I knew that I had to go get some counseling. So I went to a therapist here in Manhattan Beach. I'll give her a shout out, Susan St. Welch. She saved my life. She literally saved my life.
Cool. Make sure she hears this story again.
Yeah. Oh, I wrote her a letter recently too.
Oh, nice.
And so that is a part of where my mindset really shifted, and being able to control your emotions and really taking charge of your destiny. And then through that time period, because I was such a jerk and an angry person, and not a lot of people wanted to be around me, I also started to see what people cared. And I still believe that there's really only a handful of people in the world that really, really will be there for you when the chips are down. It's easy to be friends with somebody when everything's going great,
right,
and they have money.
Right.
But when things go really bad, you kind of start to see who your true friends are and the people that really care about you.
We're still here.
Yeah, and so because why did you guys just run out?
It's like hello,
anybody
hello?
There?
Crickets.
So then I started to realize, you know what? Like, why do I care what all these people think, when in the end, they're not going to be there for you anyways? Why do I give those people stock in my life when their opinion doesn't really matter? And that's when I started to say, you know what? Like, this is my path. This is what I'm supposed to do. I don't care what anybody thinks. The magazine was a complete failure. And so...
Which is awesome.
It was a learning experience,
right.
If nothing else.
For sure.
Yeah.
It would be nice to get that money back. But.
Well, that's why I always say, you learn nothing from success.
Right.
You learn everything.
You learn more from the losses.
You learn everything from failure.
Yeah, so eventually that's, I had to get a job, and I paid off this debts and whatever, and then I came up with the idea for Website in 5 Days. And then, it wasn't easy in the beginning of that as well.
No. I remember those times.
Yes. But now, we've got customers all across the country. And
in Canada, right?
And in Canada and in Mexico. And I think we have one in England and somebody else. Oh, Uruguay. We've got an awesome client in Uruguay. And so, just kind of persevering through that, and just fighting through a lot of the pain. Now we're at a pretty good point.
Wow.
And we're launching a new program called Dude that I would love to share.
Dude. Yeah, we can share that. So what was the turning point? I mean, what actually made, because you obviously, there was a cycle that you went through where, like when we do things like get broke, that's part of a cycle that we kind of learned or grew up with. Like that's what would happen. So what was it? Was the turning point that you started to work on yourself instead of trying to just make the money? And realizing that maybe there was a part of your anger and your stuff. What was the turning point really that made the difference?
I think a big part of it was realizing that, or I guess it's defining what success is as a business owner for me. And a lot of that is, yes, money is great, but really money is a vehicle for freedom.
Right.
And so how am I going to build this business so that it can run and sustain itself if I'm not there?
Right.
And give me the time freedom that I really want.
And
that was the end that I started in mind with Website in 5 Days.
Gotcha. But before that, you were just shooting just to make money.
The soccer magazine, I wanted it to be this big thing, and I had these delusions of grandeur of what it was going to do, and it was more so about me too. It was like, and I wanted to try and do everything, and so I didn't. I think that when I started that, I didn't have the right mindset.
Right.
And
when you say you didn't have the right mindset, is that the mindset of doing it by yourself?
Yeah. Not creating a business that can run on its own. That was a big shift for me.
Yeah.
And learning that was possible. And, you know, like one of my favorite books is The E-Myth. You've read that, I'm sure. Have you ever read that?
Mm-mm.
You should read that.
It's on the shelf.
Today.
What's it about?
It's basically about building systems.
It's a lot of myths. That's E.
Yeah,
the myth around E.
That's a whole different program. I thought this was a PG program.
Wait, not that book? Oh, wait. Oh, E-Myth. Oh,
the E-Myth. Yeah, Michael Gerber. White guy.
Gerber baby.
He wears a hat.
Yeah, okay, got it.
Anyway, so it's about, you know, building systems within the business. So for me, that's a fun read. But that was a big game changer for me as well.
Yeah, you know, that's a popular book with a lot of entrepreneurs, actually. A lot of entrepreneurs reference that book because it's all about leveraging. It's all about building systems and everything. And I tell people all the time, our students and clients, systems will set you free. And the more you're not willing to do it, the less freedom you'll have. The more trapped you'll be in your business. And I see it like all the time.
Yeah, I think one reason why it's not fun is because it takes discipline, and it's not super sexy. But really, like, I always go back to, like, why am I doing this? Like, what's my big why? It's because I want to have the freedom in my life to do whatever I want, whenever I want, with whoever I want.
Right. And what are some of the things that you do with your freedom? I think that's a very important thing that we want to talk about here.
Travel, for one.
Right.
And then philanthropy has, like, always been a big thing for me.
Right. Like some of the things that you do. Let's talk about some of that.
The thing that I've done that's probably, I think, the most important thing that I've done with my life is become a mentor through this program called Walk with Sally. It's based here in the South Bay. I don't know.
They were here at SBWC.
Yeah, they had a booth there. I saw a picture of it on the social medias.
You know, when I first met you, you were actually mentoring a kid.
I still am. So
tell me about that.
Yeah. So
talk about that. I mean,
my dad had died 5 years earlier, and a friend of mine that I had met through a referral group, actually through BNI.
Oh yeah, BNI.
She told me about this program called Walk with Sally, and if I could describe it, it's like Big Brothers, Big Sisters, but for people who had been impacted by cancer. And so I immediately knew that I had to sign up right there, become a mentor. And so it took about 6 months, and then they paired me up with this kid named Patrick. Patrick was 13 at the time. His mom had been battling breast cancer for about 4 years. He had a younger sister who was 10 at the time.
Right.
And so Patrick lives in downtown LA. So we ended up getting paired up, and it was just like instantly, like, you know, a bond that will never be broken.
Right.
And then unfortunately, right before Thanksgiving of that same year, Patrick's mom got the news that she wasn't doing very well, and she died about 2 weeks later.
Wow.
Yeah.
She died on December 9th. No, was it the 9th or the 8th? I can't believe we're forgetting. I think it's the 8th, actually. And what was ironic about that date is that my dad had told me that he got diagnosed with cancer on the 9th.
Whoa.
Yeah, so that whole time period was really, really rough, and it brought back a lot of tough memories. And it was difficult for him, but, you know, we got through it.
Yeah.
And I'm proud to say that he is graduating from high school this year. He's 18. He's
Nice.
like as tall as me now.
Wow.
And I know he got accepted to Cal State San Bernardino.
Okay.
Nice.
So he's got one option for college. And then through Walk with Sally, they've also nominated us as the mentor-mentee match of the year.
Oh.
Nice.
So that's super cool.
Yeah.
So
Oh my
of all the
gosh.
things that I've done, like, that's been the most worthwhile. Even more so than the business stuff.
Yeah, and I remember, I mean, I would actually invite you to certain things or do certain things, certain events and stuff like that. You know, I got to go take care of this kid.
Yeah.
I mean, you would just drop things just to go take care of him, or if something came up, you know.
Anything that I needed. I mean, I made a promise to his mom before she died that I would always look after the kids.
Yeah.
That's something that I take very, very seriously.
Yeah. So this is something that, you know, in just meeting Chris on the outside, you wouldn't be able to kind of see this, but this is one of the things that have kept me close to him all these different years, because I respect that about him, his willingness to go that distance. And I think a lot of what you know, whether it's conscious or unconscious, a lot of what you do, that freedom to be able to do those type of things, because I don't think he's the last kid you're going to want to impact in this life.
Oh, of course not.
Right.
Well, I have another story about that. So last summer, my aunt told me that she was going in. They caught very early stage pancreatic cancer with her. She went in for gallbladder surgery. They saw that she had some cancer growing on her pancreas. She's 76, so they were going to perform this surgery. It's a very in-depth surgery. They call it a Whipple.
Right.
And so at her age, you know, she might not even survive the surgery. Luckily, she did survive, so you don't have to worry about that. But
okay, cool.
So this is end of August, right before Labor Day. And I said, hey, I know that you wanted to go to where my grandfather, her dad, was born in Mexico. If you want to go, we can jump on a plane tomorrow. I'll rent a car. We'll go to the city. You can see all that before the surgery. She's like, no, but I would really like to go down to Mexico to Rosarito Beach. I have some missionary friends in Ensenada, that I would like to see. Can you arrange that? And I was like, absolutely. So that day, found a house, booked it online, and then we did a trip down to Rosarito Beach, and she was able to see our friends. And we pulled this off within a matter of 24 hours.
Right.
Now, I had actually just gotten back from a trip to Mazatlan, a little vacation.
Right.
If I had had a job or a boss, I wouldn't have been able to do that. I wouldn't have been able to provide an experience for my family, because I had my cousins come and my other uncle went. This is, and it brought to light exactly, again, why I do this. It's because of the freedom.
Right.
Because I have this business, I have an amazing team, and when things like this come up, I have the ability to be able to do this for the people that I care about.
Right. And it's interesting because I think what the difference is that you've defined what freedom actually means to you. Because a lot of people, a lot of entrepreneurs use the goal freedom. And one of the challenges that I have with our students and clients is, well, how do you define that?
I have it written down.
Right? Because your definition of freedom is probably different from my definition of freedom.
Correct.
And your definition of freedom is definitely different than my definition of freedom, right? So it's different for everybody. And the funny thing is, most people don't take the time to actually sit down and write that out, like you're saying.
Right. It's so important. I literally have that written down. I'm not a big foo-foo guy, but I kind of went out of my comfort zone recently and wrote down these affirmations and stuff.
Nice.
And that's one of the things that's on my card, is that very definition of freedom. Yeah. Being able to spend my time with whoever I want, whenever I want, however I want.
However I want.
That's why I'm here.
So going back to, kind of the whole theme of today's show, which is how to not give an F. I think, was it that moment where you were talking about earlier, where you're like, why am I dictating how I live my life based on people that aren't even going to be there?
Yeah, I mean, growing up as a kid, I was very conscious of how I showed up.
Naturally.
I don't think that's
what do you mean naturally?
Uncommon.
It was very natural for me. I showed up like an idiot. My mom dressed me, cut my hair, had Coke bottle glasses.
Did you have the Chinese
Yes,
bowl cut?
I totally had that.
Oh my god, I cannot imagine you with hair, let alone a bowl cut. Oh my god, what?
And I was confused why people were clicking out, and I just sat there and I was like, hey, I thought we were friends. And I became this little Breakfast Club kid.
Oh.
Although I don't think I went into detention. At least not that many times.
I went into detention. Yeah, in middle school I was a bad kid.
I could see that.
Yeah. So I mean, when I had lost everything,
right,
and I was at my lowest point, and to be brutally honest with you, I was so depressed that I didn't know if I wanted to be on this planet anymore.
Yeah.
And then I was able to come out of that with the help of the counseling, and I realized that 99.9% of those opinions that I was letting somewhat dictate my life had no merit or value to what I wanted to do. And so I just said, F it.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that, my dad also, when he was dying, I saw some of the regrets that he had, and I didn't want to go out like that.
Right.
When it is my time to go,
right,
I want to have done, I want to have lived my life so that I've done everything that I wanted to do.
So
I don't want to leave it all on the table.
Right.
And I don't care what anybody else says.
Right.
Because that's just going to get in the way.
Well, I think that's a snowball effect. Whether you decide to let people's opinions influence you, or if you just keep on your own rhythm. It's which one are you feeding? And I feel like as you step more and more into engaging in behaviors that, I don't care about what people think, then it just eventually builds. For me, I've just gotten used to going to shows in LA by myself, just because sometimes I don't my friends are the friends who I really enjoy going out with, who actually dance and really make a night, sometimes they're busy and I still want to go, so I'll go. I've gotten to the point where I've gone to festivals alone just because I still want to go, and some friends have work or they have to be back by this day or don't have the money, or, you know, and I'm just like, well, I still want to have fun.
Yeah, by the way, because she's a festival junkie.
Really?
Experiential.
So much that she
Anti-festival
so much that she got me to actually go speak at one of the festivals.
What kind of festival was it?
It was
like a music festival?
It was like music. No,
it was music there, but it was more like a mini Burning Man. No, I didn't break it. I spoke. I actually got these. You know, spoke about money.
Nice.
But I have a question for both of you actually.
Sure.
Now that so both of you have this understanding of how to really not give a flying foo about what people think or what people say, to live life based on your terms. Now, a lot of entrepreneurs or a lot of people actually struggle with figuring out, how do I do that? How do I get to a point to just say, forget that, I'm gonna go by the beat of my own drum? You know, I mean, I'd be interested in hearing about how, you know, you guys would recommend someone to, what's the first step, or what's something that someone can do to do that?
For personally, I would say it's just like the amount of courage. Just let go, you know, let go. And this is the scariest thing, because the first time that you do it, it is, for me, like, I just remember it was frightening. But once you're in it and you realize how much of a big deal that it's not, it's almost kind of, it's
what
really
was the
liberating.
impetus for you to just say, okay, I'm just going to go in and dive in, regardless of how scary it is? I
don't know. I guess I have this attitude about myself where I'm just like, well, let's just see where it goes. Let's, you know, just go for it. And granted, it's really hard I think it just comes to courage. You're going to feel the fear, you know, and no matter how many times, I still have this little voice that will say something, but I come back to my intention of, you know, like, just go for it. Don't even think about what's going to come out. Don't even think about how you're going to feel. Don't even think about, you know, it's almost kind of just,
well, kind of like what I talk about, adopt this thinking, is that, okay, no matter what happens, ask this question. If the answer is no, then you should move forward. Are you going to die? And if the answer is no, then go for it. Yep. You're not going to die.
Yep.
But did you die?
Did you die? Did you really? Maybe a version of you will die. Maybe the version that you don't need will die. How about you, Chris? I mean, what would you suggest to be?
You know, it's a good question, and I don't know if you can really move through that barrier without some actual personal experience. So for me, it was going through hell and coming back and realizing...
Going through a catharsis or cathartic moment.
I don't know what that word means.
I guess it's... Well, I know, because thinking back on it...
See, I don't care what anybody thinks. Yes, my vocabulary is not as good as Wade's.
A cathartic moment is basically when you hit rock bottom so hard.
Siri, what does cathartic mean?
You know, I could actually look it up. I can give you the definition so people don't think Wade's just making it up.
Finding the experience as something to remedy this negative emotion.
Draw from experience. But I think that's a really cool thing, because I think everybody has an experience that they can draw from. Just not everybody is awake.
Well, yeah, no. Thinking about it back to now, the first time I went to the festival alone was Lucidity. And the reason why I went alone was because at that time in my life, I was going through the most emotionally volatile time period in my life to this point. And it was something where I really just wanted to get away. I wanted to escape. I wanted to not deal with things, and I didn't know anyone, which kind of made it better almost. You know, it's like, what's the worst thing that could really happen? If this person isn't like me, then who cares? Because I don't even know them.
So for you, it was a moment, a desire to escape that helped you take that first step.
I guess it was more of just this really intense, overwhelming emotions of everything that's happening in my life. I just got to the point of that edge of what's the worst thing that could happen right now. Seriously.
Yeah. Right.
I heard this statistic.
Did you find out what catharsis is?
Yeah, I didn't understand
You didn't understand the definition either?
Did he use catharsis in the definition?
I don't know how to read or write.
Okay. It's basically... A catharsis is the process of releasing and thereby providing relief from strong and repressed emotions. So it's like that moment where you just say, throw up your hands, let go, F it, and just say,
we should have titled Catharsis.
Yeah, catharsis. But then we don't want to. But then if it was someone like Chris, it's like, I don't know what that means, and he won't listen.
Just so you know, a marketing tip: the best marketing messages are written at a 7th grade level. So
yeah.
I thought it was
this is true.
6th grade, or I thought it was 5th grade level.
Somewhere there. Same.
Between 5 and 7. Depends on what school district you're in.
Or what time period.
I grew up in Torrance. So anyways, I heard the statistic that fear lasts 3 seconds. So if you're and then once you go beyond 3 seconds, then you're just kind of in the moment and you're not really afraid anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
So I personally have thought about that. It's like, okay, I can deal with 3 seconds of fear because then I know that I'm going to get into my routine and I'll be on. Right. I'll be on.
Oftentimes I think when we label it as fear, and I tell this to my clients all the time, is that it's a misnomer. We mislabel that feeling because our unconscious mind is a powerful thing. Okay, when we're about to do something that we've never done before, it's going to overcompensate and give you extra energy. What happens when you have extra energy? If you ever gone to do a race before, you're on the starting line, you're shaking, right? If we misdiagnose ourselves and say, oh my God, I must be scared, then it actually is a way for you to stop yourself. And then your mind will be like, what the heck? I just gave you more energy and you're stopping? What's going on here? And we keep doing this over and over and again. And imagine what kind of havoc that creates in our body. Now, like you're saying, like 3 seconds of fear, that's a perfect example, I think, of someone who's misdiagnosing themselves of actually being afraid, as opposed to, hey, my mind is giving me extra energy to take care of something that we have no idea how much energy is going to take. We might as well give ourselves a lot. Right. And then once you get into it, like you're saying, the fear goes away because you're using that extra energy now. So it's not just like, I
think you can also train yourself to actually enjoy that uncomfortable feeling.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was going to say, for the listeners, why don't, or for anyone, it's just start baby steps. Like maybe you have a fear about talking to people in public. Well, the next time you're in a market, say hi to the person in front of you or behind you, or just start a conversation and, just work your baby steps. Because I do feel like the small steps that you take, it just grows into other areas of your life.
Yeah. And it sounds like that's what you did, Chris. I mean, in your journey of becoming more and more of a serial entrepreneur, right? You found comfort in the discomfort. So finding comfort in discomfort, I think, is the biggest thing that you could do to help you continuously stay on this path of growth. I was just talking, you remember Corey, right?
Of course.
Yeah. I was just talking to Corey the other day because I work out with him, and he was coming out and he's in a state of digital, he's kind of comfortable, and then he goes, yeah, I need to grow. You know how he talks. Yeah. And so basically he got out of finding the comfort and being uncomfortable, and it's a natural thing for people to do. We want comfort because that's how we grew up. That's how we nurtured, for most people anyway. We were comforted by our parents, we were comforted by our teachers and our friends, and then we got, spoiled to find comfort in comfort. Versus to be truly entrepreneurial, you're in a state of flux. You're growing, you're changing, you're impacting. So when that's happening, there's a lot of stress, a lot of friction. And if you find comfort in that, I think that's what you did. You found comfort in that discomfort of growth.
Yeah. I used to hate change. And now, especially with the industry that I'm in, things are changing all the time, and I love it. I absolutely love it. Like, I love learning something new every day.
Right.
I love making little tweaks in the business or the way that we're serving our clients.
Oh, cool.
And then just personally, I love learning anything new, even with the books that I read,
Yeah.
So, I've never been a very religious person. So I got a book on CD from Joel Osteen, just because I wanted to learn from that guy.
Right.
And I don't always agree with everything that people say, but it's fun for me to learn about a different perspective. Financially, so I've been reading a lot of financial books, so that I'm increasing my financial intelligence too.
Yeah.
So cool. Just constantly trying this. I actively try and stay outside of my comfort zone.
Right. So you triggered on something that just recently popped up, actually literally on my phone. Is what do you do about? What would you say? What would be your advice for entrepreneurs who find themselves? How do you say it? Losing the fire
in the business.
In the business.
Oh. That's a great question.
Because here's the thing is that, I was reading another book that my mentor gave me a few weeks ago. And basically they said the reason why people actually become millionaires, become rich, is not because they're trying to make money. It's because they become so immersed and committed to their work, to what they're doing. And that's why they say they said that they did this 20-year study, and every millionaire were accidental millionaires. Accidental. Nobody was intentionally trying to get rich. They just either loved or were passionate or committed so much of what they did. So, I bet you there's a ton of entrepreneurs that quit because
most people do,
right?
It's so unbelievably hard,
right? Right. So how do you overcome that hardness? That sounds weird, but the difficulty. How do you overcome that difficulty? Right.
So, you mind if I answer this first?
Yeah.
Okay. So, always going back to that why is really, really important for me. It kind of helps me refocus on the reason why I'm doing this. Specifically, like if I'm feeling bad or I'm a little bit discouraged, I'll call Patrick or shoot him a text, see what's going on with him.
Nice.
That, and if I spend time with him, like, because I live in San Diego and I'll drive up to spend time with him. Like this week, I'll spend time with him.
Right.
And just kind of that actually re-energizes me a lot. And then something that I actually did just last month is I went to my mastermind group and I was kind of telling them about some things that were bothering me. And specifically, it was like, certain emails that I would get.
Right.
And my mastermind group was like, dude, just change your email. And it was such a simple solution. Because I have a team, and they're like, just change your email so you have your assistant filter out all your emails.
Right.
I was like, all right, what the hell?
Yeah, I think.
And so I literally texted one of my employees and I said, I want you to take my email. I want you to forward them all to Erin. She's going to filter out all my emails. I told Erin, hey, you're going to get all my emails. We'll talk about why tomorrow. And so over the past month, I've probably gotten maybe 50 emails.
Whoa.
That little thing completely changed the game. And because of that, it opened up more time and freedom for me to think about new programs that I want to incorporate.
Right.
And then that's how we came up with Dude.
Yeah.
Oh, so Dude.
Yeah, that's really cool because just having that piece right there, just one small switch. Actually, we were doing that switch too, right? Kind of like
that's the thing. It's not a huge. It's never going to be like this gigantic thing that you got to change, in my opinion. Just like baseball players. If somebody's in a slump, they're not going to change their entire swing. They're not going to start making them bat left-handed if they're batting right-handed. It's a little teeny tiny tweak,
right?
And I think maybe if you're in a rut or something's not going right, take a step back. Maybe talk to somebody like you or somebody from an outsider's perspective. And have them fix that little tweak in your swing.
Right.
There's a saying that little hinges swing big doors. I 100% believe that in not only like marketing, but also in like aspects of your business and your personal life as well.
Yeah, no, totally. I absolutely agree. No, thank you for that. I mean, quitting is probably one of the biggest maladies when it comes to entrepreneurship. The reason why businesses don't succeed is not because the business isn't viable. It's because the people quit. It's not because the business, and it's not because the business can't give you the freedom that you want or what it is or feed your why. It's because you found a way to quit.
Yeah,
so
that's a good way of putting it.
One question about quitting: how would you two define that line between knowing when to quit and when to keep going?
I mean, so if you have an end goal in mind, like let's say that you have an exit strategy, right? And you want your business to be at this revenue point and then you want to get rid of it. I think it's important that you obviously define that from the beginning and then keep that tucked away in the back of your mind, or, obviously you can write it down. And then when you're at that point, hey, this is actually what I really wanted to do. And then you can say, okay, it's time for me to move on to the next thing. With the soccer magazine itself, I didn't start it the right way. I go back to the mindset, right? So in my looking back, that was never destined to survive. That was a doomed business from the beginning.
Because the goal wasn't feeding your soul. Like that? I'm a poet and I pretend I know it.
The goal and the soul. Should be the title of your next book. The goal and the soul.
The goal to feed your soul.
Title.
Yeah, the goal that feeds your soul. Oh yeah, that's a good book title.
Okay.
All right. Take note of that. The goal
Entrepreneur
that feeds your soul.
ADD in full
me
force
or
right now.
all the other listeners right now.
Right. But yeah, no, and then now I think what you found is you're now creating businesses around feeding that aspect of you, which then impacts others.
Right. And the philosophy I think that I have with my own business, we try, and maybe it's consciously or subconsciously, we are also infusing that into the way that we serve our clients.
Right.
So, I am very blessed in that I have an amazing team now with Website in 5 Days. Yes, we do the great websites, but we're also giving our clients their own team, which they desperately need to be able to grow their business.
Right.
And so that's, ultimately, that is one of our core values. I wonder if I have my core values cards on me. I think I do.
That
what,
probably
like a personally written one?
Yeah. I mean, everybody should have their core values listed out somewhere because most of the core values are
well, all my employees carry those with me at all times.
Oh, these are the core values, mission
statement and core values.
Oh, for a company.
For my company.
Check this out. So
do you have one for yourself?
Those are my so for my own personal. I guess you could call that my affirmation card that I have with me in the truck.
This is cool.
It's laminated.
Nice.
So core values of Website in 5 Days: we wow our customer, providing amazing service and unforgettable experiences. I remember when you guys first started that these core values were being violated left and right. And now you guys.
Why did you put that on Yelp, dude?
I know. No, I don't know about that. And now it seems like you guys have really kind of been paying attention, I think. We are obsessed with efficiency and hitting deadlines. We have passion for our work. We have fun and like a little weirdness. We embrace and drive change. We constantly pursue growth and learning. We create ongoing win-win partnerships with our suppliers. I'm reading the same. We have the same card.
No, she's got the mission statement.
I got the mission statement.
I know. I have the same thing. I'm just reading it the way it should be read. Read it. Okay, so we do it all with honesty and integrity. These are awesome, man. It's a great idea. We should actually have these for our.
Yeah, we should. That's what I was thinking.
We have one of our listeners, Lena from.
Hi, Lena.
Yeah, she's awesome, super awesome. She said that this show is perfect for me today, and she's loving so far.
Does she have any specific questions, Alina, that we can?
We'll see. Lena, if you have any questions, just go ahead and shout it out. Okay,
or type it out.
So yes, we are live. Whoa.
So what's the difference between Website in 5 Days and Strength Sites?
Yeah, tell us about
That's a great question.
Things.
So Strength Sites we have a lot of fitness professionals, trainers, gyms as our clients. I love working with those people as well. So we created a specific program more geared just to that niche.
Oh, wow.
It's a lot of the same services and providings. It's just that me personally as well, being an athlete and going to the gym a couple times a week.
If you guys can't see, obviously you can't because this is a podcast. You guys can see the size of this beast in this room right
6
now.
6'2", 215.
215, half Latino, half Asian, and you're single, right? So entrepreneurially single.
Yeah. Anyways, wait, so when
trouble.
you say specific, like what features make it specific for your personal trainers?
So let's take, for example, a fitness trainer website, right? Okay. So we always encourage our clients to have what's called a lead magnet. You know what a lead magnet is? It's like,
yeah, we use them at Six Figure.
Okay, perfect. So for fitness trainers, there's a number of specific lead magnets that we can offer. Maybe it's an ebook, maybe it's a free class, maybe it's a free week trial. So there are certain things that we will coach our clients on as to what to have for their lead magnet in the fitness industry.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So that's part of the team aspect of it. It's like, we don't expect these people, they are already amazing people. We just have some knowledge that can help them elevate their game. We are the guides that help them fulfill their potential ultimately.
Right. And you have all this data from other trainers of what works best, and so you just
also just following fitness professionals. So like going to a convention, or recently I actually interviewed a guy named Bedros Keuilian, who's a leader in the fitness marketing space. He also owns Fit Body Boot Camp. So just following these people. And picking up on what they're doing, and then
what's working,
brainstorming with our existing clients too, right? So there's a knowledge base even within our own clients that we can pull from.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I mean, that's the basic tenets around modeling, right? You find people who are doing it right, doing it well, and you kind of find a way to do it without, filtering out all the idiosyncratic stuff that's not relevant to the rest of the world, and then you put together systems or offerings that would help someone else do that. I mean, it's a lot of what most coaches do, you know, when you want to get someone to up level. So you give them the basics to get started, they get some results, and then they start to understand the nuances of how they actually uniquely deliver their products or services, and then they can make it their own. They can make that process their own.
Right.
You know,
and that happens over time. It doesn't happen overnight, too.
Right. Exactly.
Another thing that we help trainers, well, we help all of our clients with this, but I love doing it also with our trainer clients. It's like, what's your unique signature system? What is it that you do? What is your 3-step, 4-step system that you do, that you implement with your clients to help them go from point A to point B?
Whoa.
Because ultimately, you know, let's be honest, fitness is calories in, calories out at the end of the day, if you want to lose weight. But there is a way that you can position yourself as a fitness professional. Well, any company can do this as well, but for Strength Sites, for example, how do we position you using your unique signature system that helps you get these specific results for your target client?
Right.
Wow.
Just getting them very clear about what they already know how to do unconsciously so that people can actually figure out what they're doing.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. What are those 4 things that you're going to put somebody through? Today, actually, I was coaching a client, and she has 3 main parts to her signature system that she didn't even really know was her signature system.
Right.
Whoa.
So it came down to nutrition, fitness, and spirituality.
Nice.
And so now how do we build out those 3 pillars of your system so that when you go talk, the other thing, she didn't have a client avatar. So she realized she's a registered nurse. And so she's like, well, you know, I've worked with a lot of people with diabetes and heart disease. I was like, perfect.
That's it.
So you are the fitness professional for people who have diabetes and heart disease, and these are the 3 things that you do for them.
Wow.
To help them go from point A to point B.
Great. And it's a great starting point. I mean, they could evolve over time. And, and that's the thing I tell people all the time is like, you got to start somewhere.
Just start.
Just start. And that's the thing is if you're trying to look for that perfect starting point,
never gonna happen.
It's never going to happen. There's no such thing as a perfect starting point. Just go.
Well, what I find really beautiful about that is like not only does that help her, but also for those people who have diabetes or heart disease, it's like a quick 3-step, you know, like, oh, I just have to do this and this and this, and this person's going to lay it all out for me. It's not daunting, and it's not something that's too little. It's totally achievable.
Yeah. So do you know who Donald Miller is?
Donald Miller. That's such a unique name.
You have to follow him. He's got I think his website is like storybrand.com. I saw him speak at a conference a couple months ago, and he was unreal. Like one of the best talks that I've ever heard. And he talks about how to properly tell your story.
This guy used to talk about me like that, and now he's talking about Tom.
You've been replaced.
Are your feelings hurt?
Yeah, I'm leaving right now. Cut.
So you made me lose my train of thought. So one of the things that he said that really resonated with me is that it's been scientifically proven. So your brain is trying to help you survive and to conserve calories, right? We have evolved, and that's one of the big functions of our brain is to help us survive and conserve calories. When we are confused, our brain starts having to burn more calories, which in essence is not helping us to survive, and so we shut down and we move on to something else.
Yep.
Right.
That's why it's so unbelievably important in your marketing that you need to be very clear and concise as to what it is that you do. And he says that your website, for example, needs to pass the grunt test. So he needs to be so simple and clear that a caveman could look at your website and grunt and figure out what it is that you do, how you help me, and what I'm supposed to do next.
I could see a video for that.
There probably is a video for that.
I think there's a book, something
called Grunt.
Grunt?
No, something about the similar topic of that. It's Don't Make Me Think.
Yes.
Yeah, by something Krug.
Something Krug.
Krug?
Krug, I think that's his last name. The author. I can't recall his first name.
You don't make me think. I make you think.
Can you please do an entire show with that accent? That would be amazing.
He'll do this at the office sometimes, and most of the time Asian, but there's other accents he got stuffed in there.
Yeah, if I get, if I have a client that actually pays me, I'll say, can you do the entire session, in the Asian accent? It just makes me feel like it's worth so much more because it's from this Asian guy. Yeah, for those of you who are listening and joining us for the very first time, I am Asian, so it's okay.
You can laugh.
I'm not. It's okay for you to laugh. It's so funny when I talk to people and I do that, and at first they don't realize that I'm like Asian, which is weird because I look totally Asian.
What do you get?
And they get all these uncomfortable chuckles, and then I have to tell them it's okay to laugh.
I know, I do the same thing.
Asian.
I'll make jokes about my eyes, and it's funny. I know they're funny.
I can't see you. My Asian slant's in the way. What?
Yeah.
You know. But anyway, enough Asian funness. So.
Are you looking at the author
Steve
name?
Krug.
Yeah.
Steve Krug. I actually know that guy, author-wise.
You do. Why am I not surprised?
Yeah. So, we only have a few minutes left. I want you to talk about, what's website in 5 days? What's, you already talked about strength sites.
Oh,
dude. And it's all really, and then dude.
Yeah.
I gotta talk about dude.
Dude.
So,
I love the title. I love the name of it, by the way. Dude.
Thank you. It stands for digital updates done by experts, just so you know. So
Digital
website in
updates on
5
it,
days.
Dude.
Yeah. So most of our clients that come to us, solopreneurs, small business owners, they need a website, right? And I tell everybody, the website is the commodity. There are a million web design companies out there. What we do is, yes, obviously we're going to build you a great website rivaling the ones that the agencies are doing for $10,000. But we are providing you the team of people to help you manage it, make updates, blog posts. We do all this stuff. So we basically become your digital marketing team in the next room. And so we started that out, and we had these packages where, you had limited hours or whatever. And what we found is that, the clients need a little bit more. And so we created an unlimited program where they have unlimited access to their own designer, web designer, their own web developer, their own digital marketer.
What? 24/7?
24/7. Unlimited hours. Most agencies charge anywhere between like $100 to $150 an hour.
Right.
Just for like updates.
Right.
They also get the coaching. We'll help them build their brand. We help them do the signature system type stuff. We have a 4-step process that we use to help them double their leads year over year. So they get all that included in Dude, and it's just $4.97 a month for everything. Wow. And on top of that, they get a website too. Wow. They get a brand new website.
So $4.97 a month.
That's a steal.
Wait, $4.97?
$4.97 times 100. No, so $4.97 a month.
That's equal. I can't do the math.
Just give me your credit card. So what I say, think about it. Like in a perfect world, because you have a team, right? I have a team. The team is what enables us to have a lot of this freedom and to scale the business.
Right.
In a perfect world, everybody would be able to hire their own web designer, developer, digital marketer to handle all this internet stuff that we don't like to do unless you're an internet person, and that's what you do. But 99% of people, they lose money when they're working on their website trying to set up their Facebook ads.
No, don't get me wrong. I mean, those are amazing services. I actually thought you were going to say like, $1,000 or $1,500 a month.
Yeah, $497. That's...
So we're just launching this. So this is the launch price.
Oh, this is the launch price.
Yeah. So then, to sweeten the pot, we are offering a 2-week free trial, 14-day free trial, so you can experience how amazing life is with your own team.
And then, if you don't have a website, those first 2 weeks, you still get
a website.
A website.
Well, we're not going to build them the website unless they sign up. But yes, once they sign up, then we'll build them a new website. What I tell people is, even if you have an existing website, first of all, if it hasn't been touched in 2 years, it's time for a refresh. Or let's start building out a niche. Maybe there's a niche that you want to go after instead of being everything to everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
Create your own strength sites.
Right.
Find a niche that you really want to go a mile deep and an inch wide.
Oh man, $497, that's a steal. I hope, man.
So 2-week free trial, website in 5 days /try dude.
And how do they get there?
Just type it in right now. No credit card required.
No, what we're going to do is we'll put the link. It's websiteinfivedays.com /try dude.
Try dude.
Dude. I love it. The try dude.
Yeah, but we'll post it in the
we'll post it on the comments and everything like that in case you guys didn't get
awesome.
that. But that's awesome, dude. I mean, that sounds like a great service. I think it's very much needed because if I think about all the different team members that I spend money on and putting it all together,
invest money
into. It's easily 4, 5, 6 times that, maybe, if not more.
Yeah,
you know,
and these are all people.
and it's not to say they're not worth it and everything like that, because I'm fine. I've handpicked these people, but I get it. There's some people, some businesses that are just starting out. They don't have that type of resource, and they want to get the best quality ever. I mean, $497 is a great deal.
Scale the business.
Yeah,
you know,
and from somebody that obviously, if you listen to this, knows what he's doing.
Yeah,
and probably kind of like shapes his team and picks the right people.
Trust me, yeah.
The team is.
We have the systems in place, and they've been handpicked and trained, and they're very, very talented individuals.
I can't wait to catch up with you offline to tell me just where things are, because I remember where you guys started. I remember what you guys. Nothing. I remember what you guys, the talent you guys started with. Not to say that they're not talented, but I just,
So what you were talking about, the South Bay Women's Conference, right? We got our very first client from the South Bay Women's Conference in 2012.
What?
It was a silent auction. So we donated donated a website to the silent auction at the South Bay Women's Conference. And the woman who won unknowingly became our very first client.
Wow.
And that's how we got started. We made no money off of it, but we got our first client.
Nice.
We could put it on the website. So Beautiful. It's so funny how you brought that up.
Yeah.
That was it yesterday or last week?
Last weekend. This past weekend. Yeah, Friday.
That's how we got our start.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So, if you want to try it out, 14 days, without, try for free, no risk, try for free. Website in 5 days. That's a number 5.com/try dude. And dude, thanks for dropping in. I mean, it's super last minute. We didn't expect to have a guest, and I ran it past Jess. He goes, "Why would I say no?"
Yeah.
And I
was like, "What universe would I ever say no?"
I was like, "I don't know. Maybe the universe that's not this universe." I don't. But
the force is strong with these women.
The force is strong. So thank you so much for dropping in.
Thank you so much.
I'm happy that you get a chance to spend time with Patrick and everything like that, and just to see where things have developed since the first day, because I was there in the beginning.
Yep.
I was still there. I remember that. So all right, man. So so that's it for this week. If you have any questions, keep posting on here, because I think we're gonna send this over to Chris so that he can actually continue to participate. If you have any questions if you're not listening to this live, and we're going a little bit long, like I'm 1 minute long. So join us next week. Who's next week? We have a guest again next week, right?
Yes, we do. It's May 16th, Tim Ray from United Intentions.
Oh, we have Tim Ray from United Intentions.
Yep.
Very cool group. Very cool guy. Fun. I was just on his show.
Yep.
So, but he's going to join us live next week about the kind of cool things that they do. It's a nonprofit foundation that's out there changing lives. So that's going to be, you want to make sure you tune in for that one, because he's also a multi-million-dollar entrepreneur as well. So, awesome, Chris. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you all for being online. And we'll join you guys on the flip side next week. So, work on that money anxiety. Ask us any questions that you want. In the meantime, enjoy this Asian-esque music as we sign out.